you can grapple with kind of what the meaning of it all is, but I have seen people's like eyes roll back and like roll around the floor and like scream.
Welcome to Kesha and the Creepies. Today is one of my best friends and a very special guest, Ben Abraham, singer, songwriter, artist extraordinaire.
I'll take it, whatever descriptors you've got.
One of my favorite singers and songwriters.
Aw,
One of my
stop it.
top favorites.
That's very kind. You have great taste, so I receive that as high praise.
I remember when you sent me a video not that long ago of you singing Praying. And I was damn it, Ben, you can't sing my song that we wrote together better than me. I'm about to look like a fool.
Nobody sings it better than you, just so we're clear.
No, not true. It's on my Instagram if anybody wants to see it.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. I mean, what an amazing experience that was.
I know. So we met, for those listening who don't know our backstory, we met because we wrote Praying together with Ryan Lewis. And that turned into like probably the most important song of my life and a very pivotal moment for me. And from what you've told me, it was a cool moment for your life too. It's just like a really cool moment. Life-changing. Same. Super life-changing for me. And then you performed at the Grammys with me, which was...
Isn't that wild? And 3 years ago, like last week.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That feels like... I've done a lot of dumb, crazy, wild, insane shit. That was definitely, I think, the scariest thing I've ever done in my life.
I get that. Yeah, it's funny that I feel really lucky that I had that experience because I guess as a musician, there's some part of our brains, even if you're like, who cares about awards and all that stuff, there's still some part of your brain that's like, that's a goal in your career. I feel really lucky that I was first exposed to it kind of in secret and in hiding through you because it really dispelled it for me. Like it was walking in, you have all these expectations, and I remember there being a moment before it even started where I was standing. I remember you were in that dressing room upstairs and I'd come to say hi to you, and then I walked out onto your balcony and looked over the space, and I was like, oh, it's a show in a big arena and it's fun, and it's not everything. This is not like what all music is about. There was something I feel lucky that I was exposed to it then, so that, if I'm ever lucky enough to go back there with my own work, I feel like I've already gone through the feeling of it once before. So I'm not going to have this like intense kind of build up.
It's like a mythical thing. It's like seeing the Loch Ness Monster or something.
Yeah.
And then once you're like up there in it, you're like, oh, okay.
Well, also because you see it's like it's not really a monster. It's just like two old dudes with like a stick and a broom and like... But we've all agreed that like it's really important, and that's great. And you realize that you look back, I don't know who won best. I don't know if I remember a lot of the awards. I mean, I remember who beat us.
Yeah.
But in terms of
we do. Ed Sheeran.
Yeah.
No, it was weird and it was scary, and I can't really say it was fun because I felt like I was going to shit my pants and I was wearing a white suit. And it was quite a time that we lived through together, and we did it and we lived it.
And it's an immortal moment now.
So growing up in the church, did you ever see an exorcism? Like, was it?
Yeah.
You did.
But they're not like the movies in the sense that there's no like, I don't know, things don't shake in the room, at least as I've experienced. But like, yeah, I've seen people like, teenagers, like teenage girls get like crazy man voices and be like, yeah.
Really?
And I mean, this is where that part of my brain is like, whether it's a spiritual thing or just some kind of like psychosomatic human science thing, it happens. So like you can grapple with kind of what the meaning of it all is, but I have absolutely seen, I've seen people's like eyes roll back and like roll around the floor and like scream. And like we used to, because my dad is Indonesian and he grew up super spiritual. My dad's not he doesn't feel things very spiritually, as opposed to like my mom, who's very spiritual. But his dad was like a witch doctor and he grew up surrounded by this stuff. Like Indonesia's such a spiritual...
Wait, your dad's dad was a witch doctor?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He died.
You can't just throw that out there. Go on.
Well, he died when my dad was very young, so I didn't grow up knowing him at all. But I guess I say that to like, for people like my dad from Asia and from like that part of the world, spirituality is just a given. There's not really even a debate around like what is and isn't, which is an interesting thing when you live in the West. And I guess that's part of maybe why I've grown up so spiritual. But yeah, like, so my dad had all that stuff when he was a kid. And we used to, when we would go over and visit like my uncle's church in Indonesia, we would see stuff like that. Just like these sweet old women like come forward and be like, I need you to pray for me. And then as they get prayed for, all of a sudden they're like, I mean, and I can tell you what the idea of it as we were taught is, and then you can grapple with what it really is. For yourself.
Think of like going to a Slayer show, but for a grandma. I guess it's a bit like that. I mean, it's the idea is that there's something tormenting them, if it's like a demon possession thing. But the idea is that these people are like tormented by like a spirit that just wants to kind of mess with their head and just torment them. And so when you pray, you're trying to be like, get away from this person. You have no, and then in that process of trying to extract these evil forces, there's like a manifestation of stuff. And it's funny. A manifestation. What do you mean by a like a physical manifestation?
Yeah, but it's their body responding to something spiritual. So I've seen like a friend of mine who, he was just being prayed for because he was, I guess, dealing with some stuff. And these ministers, he was sitting in the chair, really normal and just like, I just need some prayer. And then in the process of them praying for him, his whole body like tensed. And then he just sort of gets really agitated and like, the breathing sort of... And then, that's when they're like, who am I talking to right now? And it'll be like, nobody. Like if I was going to act it out, that's literally what happens. And you can feel...
Wait, you were there for this?
Yeah. I wasn't involved. This is I feel so like vulnerable as I tell these stories.
To hear the entire podcast, listen and follow Kesha and the Creepies on iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.